Hey everyone, and welcome to another devlog video for the NPC Manager system. Today I am super excited to finally show you guys one of the main features I've been working on for the past, few weeks really. One of the big features that has been requested and one that I've had in mind since almost the very beginning, and that is to make sure that the NPCs can follow an entire routine through a dynamic day-night cycle. So far I've been showing you guys all the different aspects that NPCs are capable of doing, right? Even on the showcase level, I showed you guys how they go from station to station, how they go, roaming around in bounds, following paths, doing all kinds of things, the dynamic dialogue system. But all of those things are still bound to one single profile, one single list of tasks. And I've finally been able to, I think, get it to a point where it's ready to show. I don't want to say that it's completely done. There's still some polishing that needs to be done. But I finally got it working where you'll see in a minute, the NPC can now load different profiles depending on the time of day. And that is a really big deal because now you can finally have NPCs that have a full day routine. Not only that, but inside each individual profile, there can be a randomness. So you actually have a lot of flexibility in how you want your NPCs to behave throughout the entire 24-hour cycle. So right here, you can see, and if you are on Discord, you saw some pictures. I basically created a completely different level. It's called level time of day that is going to be set up for you guys to see the setup and follow the NPCs around and really understand how things are set up. This is not part of the showcase level. It's a completely separate level. And you can see here that it's actually very simple. I have what I would call the house of our heroes here. Bob and Kelly are going to be two NPCs that we're going to be following around. And they're going to be spawned here in this POI. And you can see that in this house we have two different beds which are going to be using to sleep in a few separate stations. You can't see these guys here. In a few separate stations here, including the couches here that they're going to be using to hang around. If I look across the street, we have two different workplaces. This right here is one point of interest, which has one of the workbench stations here, and then the other one here is also work. They're going to be fixing kind of a wall area here, and here we have a free roam area. This is a bounding box, as you can see here, and they're going to be coming here after work in the afternoon to hang out with their friends. They can even come up the stairs and come up to this little balcony area. They're going to be hanging out here until the early evening, and then eventually when night falls, they're going to come back home. They're going to hang out a little bit more, and then around 11 p.m. or 2300 hours, depending on how you view the time, they're going to go to bed and go to sleep for the rest of the evening, and they're going to be waking up at 6. So let me show you how all of this is set up. That's the basic level. They're gonna wake up. One of them is gonna go to this area to work. The other person is gonna come to this area. Then they're both gonna come hang out here in the afternoon. They're gonna come back home. And the basic idea here is of a single profile, right? So what is a profile? I'm gonna open up this example male here. I called him Bob, but if you see here, I'm gonna click on the component. You look here under profiles. I'm going to go ahead and expand here. There is an option here to use time of day, yes or no, and then you have a profile list, and right here we have 4 profiles. If you don't want to use the time of day, then the NPC will simply load the profile on index 0 and ignore everything else. And if I open here, you'll see that we have 3 different things that we can enter. We actually have the profile class, which we reference here. And I'm going to go ahead and open here so you can see what this looks like. A profile is nothing more than a task list. And you can have as many tasks as you want. In this case, they just have 2 tasks. And each individual task can be 4 different things. You can have the NPC go to a point of interest. You can use a standard task. You can go to a location. Or, and this is brand new, you can use a custom task, which I'm going to show in a different video. So each individual task can, by the way, if you can have more than one POI class. So you can see here it is an array. So you could say, for example, this is going to be the profile that the male NPC loads in the morning. until noon, and it's going to be to go to this point of interest, and it's going to be this class is going to be home. But you can add as many different POI classes here, and it'll pick a random class. So even within your entire task list, NPCs can have randomness every single day. If you add 2 or 3 different areas for work here, for example, this is the second task. This guy's going to go to POI work 1, and the female will go to work 2. But in a real game, you may have 3 or 4 different points of interest that they could go to, and every single day they may choose a different area to go to. So that gives you not only the structure to say, hey, the initial task, which is going to be hang out at home, and it's going to be between 20 to 30 seconds. That's the duration of the task. Then after you're done with this task, go to the next one, and it's going to be go to work. And go to work is going to be between 260 and 300 seconds, right? Up to 5 minutes. And then after that, you get to decide what happens at the end of this sequence. Do you want them to repeat the profile indefinitely? Means it goes back to task 1. Do you want it to go home after the task is completed? Or do you want to stay at the last task indefinitely? And in this case, it doesn't really matter because I have it set up that by the time that noon comes, we're going to load a different profile. So that's basically the idea here is each individual profile is a separate list of tasks. So what the male NPC has here is that we have 4 different profiles. And you can see here we have the morning one, the afternoon one, evening one, and a completely separate one just to have him sleep in his bed because we just want him to go to that specific station right there. And then for each profile we have start time and end time, and this is something I added recently just to make it a little bit nicer. I basically added a 12-hour format, so you can say something like 6 a.m. to 12 noon, and this is just a drop down. And based on what you select here, I'm going to be internally converting the numbers to a 24-hour format, which is way easier to use when it comes to detecting the actual time of day. But I thought this was nice. At least I know here I'm in the US. Here in North America, this is kind of the standard format. I know some countries use the 24-hour format. So it really depends on your preference, but I opted to go this route because I think it's probably going to be the most common one. So you can see here what this routine of this NPC is going to be. He's gonna run this profile between 6 a.m. to noon. Then he's gonna run this profile between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. Then the evening profile will be loaded between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. And finally, the last one, which is gonna be go to sleep, that NPC will go to bed at 11 p.m. and wake up at or from 11 to 5 p.m. 5 a.m. Sorry. And then you notice that there's a loop. So obviously there is a responsibility here to make sure that things loop. Then after 5 a.m., notice that the next profile, the very first one, again starts at 6 a.m. So every single hour, I'm going to be checking if the NPC will be checking if we need to load a new profile, and it's going to be looking at these times here. And the female is basically the same, but she's going to have a slightly different profile to go to a different area of work here. I also created a little widget to keep track of which profile is active. I kept going back and forth and using print strings, and this is the time when I realized that that I need to probably make something a little bit nicer. So it not only helps me debug, but it will also help you really understand what your NPCs are doing. So, all right, I'm talking too much. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hit simulate here, and you'll see I'm gonna go up here. It is 6 a.m. I decided to start the day at 6 a.m. You see Bob here is at home. He just woke up. You can see that this is the current time. It's around 7 a.m. And the red profile here is the active profile. This is a new widget, and you can just select it as a debug option. And this profile is going to be active between 6 a.m. to noon. Notice that he is leaving his house and is going to work. And this profile here that is active is the same profile that is active here, right here. Obviously, this gives you way more detail as far as the NPC routine. You can see that the station is work 3, and he has 16 more seconds in this station, and then it's going to keep rotating. But the task itself is 240 seconds. But we're not gonna get to that point because as soon as this number hits 1 p.m., which is 13 here, we're gonna switch profiles. So he's just working, right? He's going about his day and he's gonna hang out in this POI until he switches profile. He's just continuing with his task, and when this switches to 13, and there's going to be a small lag here. You can see the number here and here. There's a small lag. That's because I think there's just a small delay between the dispatcher. So it's supposed to be 1 p.m. and as soon as this hits 1 p.m. here, you'll see what happens, 13, and now you see that the new profile is loaded, and this profile says, hey, this is the PM profile between 1 to 5, and you're going to go and hang out in this little area here, which supposedly looks like a nice little I don't know, could be a club, could be a little park, I guess. And you can see that there are some people hanging out, and we're just gonna kind of follow him around a little bit here, and he's gonna be hanging out here, right? This is the new profile, and this profile only has hangout here, but this profile could literally be anything. I could have in this profile several different tasks, and he would select a random task. He's gonna go upstairs now. All right, I'm gonna follow Bob up to the little balcony here. You can see that it's 17 now, right? And very soon, around 6 p.m., you're gonna see that his new profile will be loaded, and then he's gonna go home. All right, there you go, 18. That's 6 p.m. and now we switch to the evening profile, and now Bob is going to go home. You can see he's slowly going down, and he's gonna come back home just to hang out for the rest of the evening, and then eventually at 11 p.m. he's going to bed. And one of the things that I've added, and I'm not gonna go through all the code because I think this is more interesting to watch, but I'll just be talking, right? Is the ability to have individual stations per POI, and that was something that I needed to add to make this possible. Before this change that I made in the past few days, there was no way for an NPC to specify a station, a separate group of stations within the same POI. In other words, there's one point of interest here for the house, and he has the bed and he has the furniture, but there was no way for me to tell the POI manager to exclude the bed until the NPC's profile demanded it. You can see here that now that we have sleep mail, which is the last profile, and this profile only has this guy go to this station here, which has a specific tag, and there you go. It is midnight now, and he's going to sleep. He's basically sleeping, and he's going to be sleeping there until 5 a.m. And that's the idea. So the big thing here is that now within the same point of interest, you can now, with different tags, it's very flexible. You can specify which stations within the same POI the NPC is allowed to request based on the profile. And that is the reason why when this profile is loaded, the evening profile, the beds are not included because they have different tags. So you'll never see him hanging out in the evening profile and just go to bed randomly. This station is only allowed on this profile, and that way it's a lot more natural. Everybody's going to have their own space. You could also have more than one station on the profile, right? So you could have these two beds be on here, and then he'll just choose a random bed at the time, whichever is not occupied. So there's a lot of flexibility there. You can see that we're about to hit 6 a.m. and what's going to happen at 6 a.m. is that he's going to load the AM profile. And remember, there's a small delay here, and as soon as this hits 6 here, there you go, he's waking up, and now this profile is loaded. And again, he's gonna hang out here. Remember, there were two tasks, so he's doing the first task, and he's gonna be here for 10 more seconds, task index 0. And then the second task is gonna be to go to work. So when this is done, he's gonna go to task 1, index 1, and then he's gonna be going to work in the next 4 seconds here. Task time and station time are different. This task is finished, the next task was to go to work, and then his day kind of repeats. And so on and so forth. So that is pretty much it. So let's quickly, and I'm not gonna spend the same amount of time here. I'm going to add the female NPC here, and I don't think I showed you this before, but this is all new as well. The POIs now have a spawn area here, and you can define as many NPC classes as you want, and then you can have the number as well. So this class, which is the male one, you can have a separate number of spawns, completely separate from a different class, and that allows you to really control the different NPCs that you want to spawn in different areas. Because remember, the POI can be anything. It could be like a market, right? It doesn't have to be a building. It's just an area where you have different stations. So a POI could be an alleyway, could be an entire building, could be a park, could be whatever, right? So now I'm going to add the female here. And I've added a very handy time dilation system here. So if you go back to the NPC manager, that's kind of the main blueprint that manages everything. There is now an option here to use time dilation. This is basically 1 is 100%, 4 is it's gonna go 400% speed. So if I click play here, you can see that they're going really fast, because the simulation is going 4 times the regular speed. You can see that the female, Kelly, is going here, and she's going to be working in this area. And Bob is going to be working here. They have 2 different profiles. Each one goes to work in the morning. And then as soon as 1 p.m. arrives, or 13, they're both going to go here to hang out in this area. And funny enough, they both came upstairs to the little balcony. And they're just gonna hang out here again until 6 p.m. And there you go. They switched, and now they're gonna come back home, and they're gonna hang out a little bit in the evening. Notice that they never choose the beds as any stations to hang out. Bob's gonna hang out here, and as soon as 11 p.m. arrives, Kelly has her own bed. She sleeps here, and Bob has his bed in the main bedroom here. And we can observe that this is gonna be their routine. And then they're going to wake up at 6 a.m. and they're going to be doing basically the same thing. This is a modified version of the time of day blueprint that I used in ABK. Still super simple, by the way. The main idea is just to give you the functionality. If you have something much better like True Sky or Ultra Dynamic Sky, it should be very, very easy to hook it up to the NPC manager, right? This is mostly meant to be a showcase of how to do it. But if you have any system that can connect and provide the actual time of day in hours, then it should be very easy to integrate with Manager, right? So this is just, again, rotating the sun. Where's the sun? There it is. It's just moving the sunlight and just giving you an approximate time every day. All right. So that is pretty much it. It may look simple, but this took quite a bit of time to polish up. There were so many different things when you load different profiles. There were so many things that that needed to be tweaked to make sure that things were smooth. And even now, it's not completely perfect, but at least it's functional, and I think you guys get the idea. I'm gonna keep testing it to make sure that things are smooth, but I'm thinking that this is probably 90%, 95% where it needs to be. So yeah. Hope you guys liked the setup, and hopefully you guys understand why the profile approach is very flexible. I don't know if I explained it correctly. It can sound really convoluted, but once you get it, I think you'll see why it's so flexible. I really believe that you can make really complex routines now for your games. And again, all the big RPGs like Skyrim, Oblivion, Witcher, all these guys, you could go and sneak into NPCs' houses at night, and you can see them sleeping in their beds or hanging out. And this is, in my opinion, a very good way of accomplishing, giving each individual NPC in your scene a specific routine or a semi-randomized routine. Again, because you have that ability. So if you're playing a game and you want to follow a Bob, you know that he'll usually be either at work or in the market or here or there. Between this time and that time of the day. So that's kind of the main idea. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I have some other things that I wanted to show, but I will leave that for another one, including the custom task that I've added. That was a request from somebody on Discord. And I have a block detection system that I think is pretty neat that I want to show in the next devlog. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, on the comments below, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.